Welcome back, everybody. This is Cliff again with a second attempt at doing the boot camp for combat for armored fighting vehicles because, well, I'm sort of a perfectionist and I didn't really like my first recording. It felt a bit disorganized and scrambled, and this is a topic that many people find a little confusing. So I wanted to offer more clarity and a little less confusion, so I'm trying to organize a little bit better. Let me know if I did a better job or if it didn't make any difference. We've already talked about some vehicles, Jeeps, trucks, and half-tracks previously, and we've covered some of the basics of movement and firing from and at those vehicles. Armored fighting vehicles are much the same, but they are a little bit more complex because they have larger crews, so there is specialization within the crew, and the visibility from an armored fighting vehicle, tanks in this case, there are no self-propelled guns yet, is more limited, so that spotting is a little bit different sometimes. So let's get at it. Like all vehicles, armored fighting vehicles have their own display mats. We have mats for the American tanks, the M4, A3. There's two different ones, A and B. And the Germans, which for now are Panzer IVs, Panzer IVHs, A and B. Each of these has a crew of 5, and in both cases there is a specific order that we go through activating the crew members. You must follow this order. This is important. You always start with the commander, then the driver, then the gunner, then the loader, and last of all, the co-driver. Each of these positions has different responsibilities and functions and capabilities within the crew, and we'll run through those shortly. But first, I want to get initiative out of the way. Like all the other vehicles, we draw cards for initiative. In the case of the American, we draw off our hand. So if I pull up our hand and I draw a card, initiative 26 for Able would be M4A3A. If we had a second tank, M4A3B, it would use the Baker value of 54. So we got 26 for initiative. And likewise, the German draws a card. In this case, he drew this card, card 47, with an initiative 87. Much worse initiative. That will also be used for the commander's order, which I will cover later. That's initiative. We set our initiative values. It goes into the initiative track just like everybody else. They play their role during their initiative order for each of the 4 impulses. Back to the crew when we get to movement and spotting and firing. The crew of 5. File. Open recent. I don't have it. One moment. There we go. The crew of 5 have different properties and capabilities. Most of these positions in the tank, both American and German, have have hatches, except for the gunner. So the commander, driver, loader, and co-driver all have hatches, which may be open or closed. If they're open, they'll have much better visibility than if they're closed. The soldiers, the crew members, have different weapons. The commander has a pistol, and that's it. He also has smoke grenades, not really a weapon. The driver is unarmed. The gunner obviously controls the main gun and also has the coaxial mounted M1919 .30 caliber machine gun. The loader has no weapon, and the co-driver has another hull-mounted M1919 30 caliber machine gun. As I said, whether or not the hatches are open or closed is going to affect visibility. Closed, much more restricted. The commander can always see 360 degrees from his command cupola. He's got vision ports all the way around if his hatch is closed. The driver and co-driver can only see the front of the tank through their little periscopes. And the gunner and loader only see forward in the axis that the turret is facing. If the turret is facing forward, then like the driver and co-driver, they'll only see forward. But if the turret is rotated, they'll have a different field of view than the driver and co-driver, but only in the forward arc from the turret. Now, if the hatches are open, commander's still 360 degrees. The driver and co-driver can still see the front, but now they can see to the sides of the tank. The gunner and loader can still see the turret front, but now the gunner can see the turret left and the loader can see the turret right arc. All of these positions can spot enemies. They can do regular spotting checks, and we'll talk about spotting. But some of these positions, that is the commander and the gunner and the co-driver, the ones that are operating the main weapons, the two M1919s, or the main gun, and then the commander, have to place a spotting marker, a target marker, on a spotted soldier in order to actually fire at him. So it's one extra step of complexity. We not only need a spotted known enemy soldier, but we must actually target a specific one, and that's the one they're concentrating upon. I will post this table into the document part of boot camp just as an aid if you want a quick summary of the crew positions. Not really any great shakes. I've just tried to condense and organize the rules into a nice condensed form. Whatever. Alright. So now, when we activate these positions, the different people have different command capabilities. We always start with the commander, and notice that these crew members only have a TQ value, no weapon skill. Everything is driven by TQ, and the leadership value here, I got Captain Murphy, one of the best leaders. The leadership value is only used to modify morale checks and fire morale checks. It's not used to modify spotting. It's not used to modify to hit numbers or anything like that. Just like leadership for the infantry, which is really only good for morale checks. That's just how this game works. That said, the commander has various orders. He can place a target marker, as I said. He can button up, he can spot, and then he can direct fire. That's the way, if he has this order, he can improve the to hit because he's directly talking to the gunner and directing fire. He can mount up if he's dismounted from the vehicle, and he can move to a different position, but normally you don't move to different positions. If you're moving anywhere, you're probably bailing out. He also has a smoke grenade at his disposal. Pitch that outside the tank, try to pop smoke to hide. Next, we have the driver. The driver is where we talk about movement. The driver has all the usual orders. Panicking is like ducking back. When your hatch is closed, you don't duck back, you panic. If your hatch is open, you duck back. He can button up, he can spot, he can relocate, do the various things, bail out. But now he controls all the move orders. These are all the move orders that we talked about before with vehicles, from slow, like crawl, to road fast, which is really fast, to reversing, backing directly up. As always, you can only move in the forward or reverse direction. We get our unit marker off of the display, put it on the map, and we rotate. He can only move forward or backwards directly, like before. And when you give an order, like before with the vehicles, you have to declare your movement directions, just like the enemy does. So if he's going to move, he'd have to say, I'm moving whatever this direction is. Where's my compass at? Where's my compass at? Get that compass. I'm just going to grab the compass, bring it down here by the action. I'd have to say move to, crawl to crawl forward. Or we can put a stop on him. If he was moving, we can put a stop order on. Stop. Or once he's stopped, I can just put a spot on him. So let's do other orders and just have him spotting. I want to have the commander here. Other orders, I'm going to have him directing fire. Okay, then we go to the gunner. The gunner, the shooter, is going to be firing. He has all the usual orders. He's also got fire orders. He can fire his machine gun, or he can fire the main gun. Notice that there's a 0, 2 gold ones, and a red one. 0 in the first impulse, he cannot fire. On impulses 2 and 3, if he's got a loaded main gun, he may attempt to fire by passing a TQ check, which in this case is a 6. If he has a loaded gun, he can fire on impulse 2 if he passes that 6 TQ check. If he does not pass, he can try again, TQ check on impulse 3. If that doesn't work, he's guaranteed to fire on impulse 4. Our loader has all the usual orders, and it also has load HE or load AP. Once again, 0, then golds, then red. The gold zeros mean that on impulse 2 or 3, if the weapon is not loaded, he can attempt to load AP, or HE if I had used that marker, if he passes a TQ, which once again is 6. If he passes on 2 and it was empty, it's now loaded, which means that maximally the tanks, like before, can fire twice. Maximally. If we had a loaded gun on impulse 1, he came in loaded, then on impulse 2, if the gunner passes his TQ, he will fire. On impulse 3, the loader, if he passes, will reload. And on impulse 4, the gunner is guaranteed to be able to fire again, so he can fire 2 times, maximally. Most of the time you're lucky to get 1 shot off. Alright, and after that we have the co-driver. And the co-driver, we can have fire orders. We can fire MG Rapid. If you fire machine guns, these are without an assistant, like we talked about with the machine guns on other vehicles like the half-track or on Jeeps when they are armed. That is, we have a -3 modifier to hit. So this goes from a 5 down to a 2 right off the bat. And the first 9 will give you a low ammo unless you got some reroll markers. These machine guns you cannot use quick reload on either. Quick reload only works on rifles. So there we've gone around the horn, we've set up that, we've talked about movement. Let's talk about spotting. So if you got enemies that are unspotted, vehicles can attempt to spot them. Let's put some enemy soldiers on the board, why don't we? We'll put a guy here, yeah, there. We'll make him unknown. And let's put a guy here, and we'll leave, well, he's got to be here so we can actually see him, eh? Maybe here. I think we got a line of sight to there. No, we do not. To here. There we go. Alright, when it's this guy's turn, if we activated this tank, we could run through the order of operations. We go first to the commander. He's got direct fire. Well, in the first part we tried to do his order, direct fire, nothing to do there. This is impulse 1. Then we try to spot. He's got a 7. Let's say that he's got this open. He's an open hatch. All the rest of the hatches are closed. That's how I normally have my tanks. He's a 7 to spot. There is no modifier to spot due to having an open hatch. If this hatch were closed, there's a -2 for spotting. So closing the hatch is -2 to spot. I'm going to leave it open. He's a 7. Then it's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's an 8. And let's say he is aim fire in trees, which is -2. That's a 6. He needs to roll a 6. He rolls a 1, and he spots him. Now, with spotting, he can place his target marker. And there is a priority for marking your target marker. So he's going to place his target marker. Let me get this out of the way. Place target marker. Brings that out. Target marker goes on to an armor fighting vehicle. Opposing armor fighting vehicle gets priority. Guaranteed to be seen. You don't have to check to see if it's spotted or not. Vehicles are big and obvious. If there's an armor fighting vehicle within LOS, it's immediately the priority target. Target marker goes there. Second in priority is an enemy light anti-tank weapon team, a Panzerfaust. In the case of the friendlies, Americans, if they see a Panzerfaust, that's the next highest priority. Target marker goes there. After that, the next highest priority is a hex that has the most enemy adjacent to it. And after that, it's just the closest or most threatening. So in this case, we'd put our target marker here on the closest enemy unit. Well, I'm just going to move it a little bit. Come on. Behave. There. I want it right here. Put it on there. Now I've spotted him. Well, I spotted him. And I put my target marker there. This guy's further away. If there had been a light anti-tank weapon, I'd have put it there. If we have a target next door and this target goes away, we can move it one space for free. If there's no place to move it, you want to change it, change priorities, you have to pass a TQC. He'd have to pass a TQC to change his target marker more than a hex or to change priority targets. Automatically gets changed over to an armor fighting vehicle if it appears. They're not subtle. Okay. Next, we've done the commander. We have to do the driver. When the commander spots a target, the driver has to pass a TQC if he is moving to try to stop. So if I was crawling, I would try to TQC on Corporal Perry. 6 or less, he would get an emergency stop and stop moving. But we're not moving right now. We're sitting still. He's got a spot marker. He's got a spot command. Spot commands increase your chances of spotting by +1. But he's closed, so that's -2. So it ends up being a -1 to spot because he's got a spot command, but he's closed. So spot is a +1, closed hatch, -2. But there's nobody to spot now because everybody's spotted. So he's done. We go to our gunner. Gunners fire main. And we don't really have a target to fire our main because we're loaded up. Let's say we're loaded. We're going to load this. And we're loaded for armor piercing. You can load for armor piercing. You can load for high explosive. Armor piercing has a penetration value, but it is ineffective against infantry. It's only for hard targets. High explosive is like an artillery barrage. It has the typical damage, 4 dice for 4, with a chance to crater, chance to create rubble. It has a small penetration factor, but 1 plus a d6 between 2 and 7 is not going to be very effective against a Panzer IV. If we had light armor for the Germans, like an armored car or a half-track, that might be effective. Or if we had Japanese tanks, we could pop that right into one of those little Japanese tanks. They were just little tin buckets. HE actually worked better against them than AP. AP would go straight through them. They have such poor armor. But anyway, I have nobody to shoot at for my main gun, and this is Impulse 1 anyway, and the main gun can't fire. Loader has nothing to do because it's Impulse 1, and Co-Driver is on Rapid MG. He would like to fire, but he does not have a target marker out. See, he cannot fire. He must put a target marker on anybody who he has LOS to. And he has 2 targets and he can pick. And he's going to pick the closer one. So he's going to place his target marker here. I don't feel like there was really a reason to put a target marker here for the main gun. That's the only one down the right side here. These are the guys with target markers. But I didn't put his target marker on because we're hunting for armor with this guy. So he's just going to hold his fire and not place his target marker because it won't be effective. On Impulse 2, we're still directing fire. We're still spotting to no effect. Our gunner is still stuck firing main and chooses to pass. Loader, likewise, has nothing to load and chooses to pass. And now our co-driver, lastly, would be activated, and he would fire the MG Rapid. There's no minus here other than the -3. He fires every impulse. He's got a TQ of 5. -3 makes him a 2. He's a range 1, 2, 3, 4, which is a +1, which is a 3, and aim fire in the trees is -2. So he would be 0 or 1. I get 4 shots. A hit, 5, a hit, and he's low ammo. But 2 hits was 0. You definitely tell I'm not playing the game for real. Because then we would draw our wounds. Bad wound, close call. And we put our bad wound on there. He'd go to duck back. He'd get a bad wound. 5 -3 is a 2. Fails, goes down 2. To shaking. And then close call morale check. 5 -5, he needs a 0. 9. He's routed. And my confidence tracker just went down 2 for him. And that's the way that rolls. All right. Now, before I get into firing the main gun and stuff, let's talk about the German side of things. Germans, pretty much the same story. It's just here is our German tank. We're going to determine what their orders are depending upon initiative numbers. So the initiative for this tank is 87, and 87 is also going to be the commander's order. And for that, you need to go to the vehicle order matrix. We've got A and B. order matrix A is for most of them. Commander, loader, gunner, co-driver, driver is on side B. Commander first. He is, well, let's put him out. We've got to have a German tank out somewhere. Let's back this guy off. I'm making a mess. That's okay. I'm going to back this tank up a little bit. I'm going to put the German tank out. Alright. I'm going to put you here. And I'm going to put you here. Now, these guys do not have LOS to each other. I'll prove it to you. They do not have LOS to each other. We're at a range of 9. And this will be a range of 8. So right now they're range of 9, no LOS. Great. Now, determining the order. It depends on whether you have a target and whether you are buttoned up or open. They're going to come in by definition. Usually the scenario will say who's open and who's buttoned up. A lot of times the commander will be buttoned up. The commander and all the crew come off the German crew display. You also get a driver, co-driver, gunner, loader, commander, and that's their random mix. And you send that to Panzer A. There we are. Our commander is open and does not have LOS to anybody. So we go to no target, open, 87, he's a spot. So we give him a spot order. Alright, and I'm just going to leave this guy here because that'll tell us our vehicle initiative. Next, we need a card for the driver. So we go here, and I get a driver card. And the driver's number is 91. So I go to the driver, which is on, as I said, vehicle order matrix side B. No target, buttoned up, 91. Forward, 5. So we give him a drive move order of forward, direction, come on, 5, forward 5, minus 5 to hit. Next, we draw a card for the gunner. Gunner's 39. Matrix side A, gunner. No target, open, 39. No order. We'll just leave that empty. After that, we do the loader. $95. Loader. No target. Oh, buttoned up. Spot. Gunner was 39. Spot. They're both on spot orders. Forgot they're buttoned up. Spotting. Spotting. And co-driver. One last draw. 25. Co-driver all the way bottom. 25. No target, button up. Spot. Everybody's trying to spot. So we're moving forward at 5, trying to spot. And our initiative is 87, so the Americans got the better initiative. So if we were to play this out, here we are. We're going to take these markers off. Just remove that and remove that. And let's get rid of these guys. And this guy, I don't need him anymore. Okay, it's tank on tank. Here we go. Our American is sitting here. We've got spot, load AP, we got AP in the barrel, our ready round, MG rapid, fire main, direct fire, +1 on that. And we already know the German. It's American's impulse first. He's sitting there, doesn't do anything. First impulse for the German. He's got forward. Let's get the German tank out again. He's got forward 5. He's going to move 1 hex forward. And then 2, then 3, then 3. So he moves 1 hex forward. Commander is the first to get activated. I'm just going to keep these guys up and drag them back and forth. Commander gets activated. He's got a spot order. Cannot spot anybody. Next, driver. Driver moves forward 1. I'm going to put it over here. Driver moves forward 1. Driver can only see forward because he's buttoned up. He cannot see that tank. The commander could see him now, but the commander's already done. After the driver, we get the gunner. The gunner's got spot, but the gunner is buttoned up and can only see forward in the direction of the turret. Can't see. Next up, loader. Can only see forward from the turret. Can't see. Next, we got co-driver. Can only see forward. Nobody can be seen. Even though our tank is sitting here, nobody can see him except the commander, and the commander's already done. Second impulse. The American is up. Let me put the American tank up now. First person up is Murphy. Murphy immediately sees that and places his target marker right out there. He's directing fire and can't do anything else. Our driver spots, but the driver, while he can spot, doesn't place a target marker. He can only spot and let everybody know. So driver's not doing anything. Gunner. Gunner's got fire main. This is second impulse. He could fire, but he's got to pass a TQ. He rolls. I'm going to bring this down. Down, down, down. He rolls. What did he roll? He rolled a 2. And he fires. Fire main. Fires it. It's empty. Okay. When he fires, he uses a TQ of 6, but he gets a +1 for directed fire from the commander, so that's a 7. He's got a range of 8 right now, which is another +1. 6, 7, 8 with that. An 8 to hit. And this guy is moving forward in the open. So we have to see what that does. So we pull up our combat tables. Forward in the open is a -2. So 8, 7, 6. 6 to hit. 4. We hit him. We hit him on the side. So then we must pull up our armored fighting vehicle hit locations. And also firing from the side, I believe we get another +2. So I mean we'd hit from 8. From the fronts or the rears, you get a +1. Shooting at the sides, you get +2. Either way, we hit him. Then we have to roll for a location with the D100. We get a 46. Suspension. Suspension, I don't even know if I need to penetrate, but let's check penetration. And all means that all of their crew have to take a morale check. So we hit them down in the suspension. Let's see what happens for penetration. Our penetration is 6 plus a d6, 12. And we hit the side. That would be the lower hull side. We penetrate no problem. And when you hit the suspension, I believe we immobilize. A quick check for suspension. Going here. Damage suspension. Vehicle immobilized. So we damaged his suspension. Yay. So let's pull up our German here. And we've got our suspension here damaged. And he's immobilized. Boom. And targeted. They've got to all pass a morale check, starting from the commander. TQ of 5. 8 fails. So he's going to be cautious. And he's going to be ducking back. Yeah, just do it this way. There, he's ducking back. And he uses his 1 leadership to help everybody else. Okay, next up, driver. 3, 4. Fails. He's closed, so he's going to actually panic. He's going to fail, go to cautious. He's going to lose that order. He's going to go to a stop. And he's also going to panic. Driver gunner. He's a 6, 7, 4 passes. He keeps his spotting. The 4, 5 here passes. And our co-driver 5, 6 fails. He's going to lose this. He's going to panic. He's also going to panic, and he's going to become cautious. So their morale works just like everybody else's morale. We got a couple guys panicking, one guy cowering in his cupola. The suspension has been disabled. Yeah. Now it's their turn. We hit him. Though he's ducking back, he will now hide. He's hiding in his cupola, but he can still spot. Hiding people can still spot, and he will automatically spot. So I should have kept that up there, dummy. He's going to spot. This is, his spot is gone now. Remove that. But he's going to place a target marker. here. Okay, we go to driver, who is stopped and panicking. Gunner, who's on spot. He will rotate his turret to the direction of the commanders, because the commanders got a better higher priority target. So we need to rotate our turret here. Rotate turret left. So he rotated turret left. We're on spot here. This is probably going to be loaded with HE. That's usually what they come loaded in with HE. He's still spotting, and the co-driver is panicking. Impulse 3. Our commander is still directing fire. Our driver is still spotting. Our gunner has an empty gun. Our loader can now attempt to load in Impulse 3, but must pass the TQ. And he passes. And this is now loaded. And our co-driver, he's not doing anything, because there's nobody else for to shoot him at. When we go to the German tank, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, the commander is hiding. The driver is panicking. The gunner is still spotting. The loader is still spotting. And the co-driver is panicking. So they're not doing anything. Impulse 4. My commander is still directing fire. My driver is still spotting. My gunner may now gun. 6, 7, 8, 9, and now these guys are stopped in the open. Ten. Anything but a 9, not a 9. And I hit him again. And I pull up my vehicle hit locations. I'm shooting from the side, and I roll a 70. I get a turret hit, use glancing value. And that's a typo. But it's a turret hit, use glancing value. So for penetration, we have to use glancing. My penetration is a D6 plus 6. It's a 7. Glancing the side of the turret. For him, the turret side is a 7. I pass. It's penetrated the side of the turret. So then I have to roll here on another D100 to see where on the turret we hit. I roll a 87, which is just a turret hit. Another asterisk. Then we have to go to damage, penetrated, turret from the side. We have to see what we got here with a D10. We roll a 6. Turret side 6. There's a fire morale check all. So we got a turret fire. I want to put that on the turret. See, there's not like a place for a turret fire. So I'm just going to call it a fire. And we've got to do a fire morale check. And the fire morale checks are even worse. So let's pull up our fire morale check. One second. Alright. This is under 31.10.10, fire morale checks. Every position has to pass a fire morale check. As I said, it's worse, so we roll a d10. The commander gets a 3. His TQ is 5, 4, he passes. Less than a TQ, loses 1 morale state. So he goes from cautious down to shaken. Next, the driver. The driver is a 3, 2, and rolls a 4 and fails. That's 2 morale states. Cautious, shaken, routing. He's going to be bailing out. Whenever somebody routs, they try to bail out. Gunner. Gunner is 6. Well, this would have been 3, 2, 3. Still failed because of leadership. Gunner 6, 7, 1 passes. He goes down 1. See, he's now going to be panicking. He goes down 1 to cautious. The loader 4, 5, 6 fails, goes down 2. So that's deleted, and he's now panicking, and he's now shaken. And my co-driver 5, 4, 5, 3 passes, goes down 1 to shaken, and he's still down to shaken. And now I got a circle for some reason. It's alright. There. No. I turned on a circle somehow. So everybody's now panicking. One guy's going to be bailing out. When the driver bails out, I mean, driver's got nothing to do anyway. It's immobilized. He's going to have to bail out. We talked about bailing out before. So we hit this guy twice. We got a fire going. And now in every subsequent turn, you have to roll for that fire. If you roll a 0 at the end of the turn, the fire goes out. If you roll a 1 through a 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the fire just keeps burning. On an 8 or a 9, the vehicle blows up. It's not wise to stay in a burning vehicle. So everybody should be trying to bail out pretty soon. These guys are going to be pretty much useless for the rest of the turn here. The Sherman put a hurt on this Panzer. That's really what it's like shooting at a tank or shooting from a tank. Small arms can also shoot at a tank, but can really only have any effect if the soldier is popped out of their hatch. Then they can be targeted by anybody with an aim fire that has LOS to them. Other than that, that is pretty much the vehicles. I think I've covered it a little bit more thoroughly, a little bit more organized this time. I'm happier with it, and I'm going to move on to light anti-tank weapons next. I'll see you next time.